In a highly consequential decision that may reshape the political landscape of the Middle East, the United Nations Security Council has formally backed a Gaza Stabilization and Reconstruction Plan proposed by former U.S. President Donald Trump. The endorsement comes after weeks of diplomatic negotiations, private briefings, and closed-door consultations involving major global powers. While the decision has sparked intense debate across political, academic, and humanitarian circles, it is widely viewed as a decisive moment in the international community's attempt to bring long-term stability to Gaza following years of conflict, economic collapse, and humanitarian crises. According to senior UN officials, the plan emphasizes three primary objectives: an immediate and enforceable ceasefire, unconditional humanitarian access, and a phased multinational reconstruction initiative monitored by an international oversight mechanism. Although early drafts of the plan faced resistance from several member states, the final version received enough support to secure passage, marking one of the rare moments in recent years where the Security Council has reached consensus on an issue involving Israel and Palestine. At the heart of the plan is a proposed Gaza Recovery and Stability Mission, a coordinated international effort that would bring together UN agencies, regional actors, humanitarian organizations, and contributors from the United States, the European Union, Gulf countries, and select Asian nations. The mission would be responsible for securing humanitarian corridors, monitoring ceasefire compliance, and overseeing the logistics of rebuilding critical infrastructure such as hospitals, electricity grids, water networks, and housing complexes damaged during the years of conflict. Diplomats familiar with the negotiations stated that Trump's proposal gained momentum largely because it attempted to address both immediate emergency needs and long-term structural rebuilding. While some experts question whether the plan will yield sustainable peace without a formal political settlement between Israel and the Palestinian leadership, others argue that stabilizing Gaza's humanitarian situation is an essential first step toward a broader resolution. Under the new plan, the United States has pledged to provide technical assistance, financial resources, and diplomatic support. European nations, including France, Germany, and Italy, have expressed willingness to participate in the reconstruction phase, though they emphasize the need for transparency and international accountability to avoid corruption or misallocation of funds. Meanwhile, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia are expected to play significant roles in funding infrastructure recovery, humanitarian relief, and local economic programs. One of the most notable elements of the plan is the establishment of internationally monitored humanitarian corridors designed to ensure uninterrupted delivery of medical supplies, food, and essential goods. In recent years, humanitarian access to Gaza has often been caught between political disputes and security restrictions. The new mechanism seeks to minimize delays by centralizing approval processes and deploying international monitors at key border points. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres praised the Council's decision, calling it a vital step toward restoring dignity and hope for millions of people caught in cycles of violence and deprivation. He emphasized that the plan could succeed only with full cooperation from all parties involved: Israel, Palestinian authorities, regional states, and international donors. Without such cooperation, he warned, the initiative may deliver only temporary relief. Reactions from Israel have been cautious yet pragmatic. Israeli officials stated that the plan's success would depend on strict monitoring to prevent weapons smuggling, militant activity, or reconstruction materials being diverted for military purposes. They expressed openness to the humanitarian and economic elements of the plan but insisted that Israel's security concerns must remain central. On the Palestinian side, responses were mixed. Some leaders welcomed the international commitment to rebuilding Gaza's devastated infrastructure and alleviating the dire humanitarian conditions. However, they also warned that any plan bypassing Palestinian political institutions could undermine their legitimacy and create new tensions. Analysts note that political fragmentation among Palestinian factions could complicate implementation unless a unified administrative framework is established. Human rights organizations have voiced cautious optimism but stressed the need for guaranteed protections for civilians, independent monitoring of military activities, and long-term commitments to economic rehabilitation rather than short-term aid packages. Many groups argue that sustainable peace in Gaza requires not only reconstruction but also political reforms, economic freedom, and protection of civil rights. While the endorsement of Trump's plan marks a significant moment in international diplomacy, the path ahead remains fraught with challenges. Past attempts to rebuild Gaza have often faltered due to renewed conflict, political disagreements, and financial constraints. Critics warn that without addressing the root causes of the conflict, including territorial disputes, governance issues, and security conditions, the plan may not achieve its stated objectives. Economists estimate that fully reconstructing Gaza could cost tens of billions of dollars and may take more than a decade to complete. Key infrastructure, including schools, hospitals, transportation networks, and commercial centers, requires extensive rebuilding. The economic plan also includes job creation initiatives, micro-enterprise programs, and youth training schemes aimed at reducing unemployment, one of Gaza's most persistent problems. International observers agree that this plan places the United States back at the center of Middle Eastern diplomacy, marking a significant shift in the global geopolitical environment. Trump, who has maintained involvement in international policy discussions even after leaving office, has framed the plan as a humanitarian obligation and a necessary step toward ending cycles of violence. For the UN Security Council, the endorsement represents a rare moment of alignment between Western members and key regional powers. While Russia and China voiced several concerns during negotiations, they ultimately chose not to block the plan, citing the urgency of humanitarian needs and the potential for broader diplomatic engagement. As global attention intensifies, several questions remain. Will the ceasefire hold long enough for reconstruction to begin? Will international donors deliver promised funding? And most importantly, will the plan help create a sustainable path to peace? For now, the Security Council's backing provides a foundation for action, but its success will depend on diplomatic cooperation, effective oversight, and the collective determination of the international community. As preparations for the mission begin, millions of civilians in Gaza watch with fragile hope, waiting to see whether the world's leaders can finally deliver more than just promises.